Do 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 do. What the hell? You killing me, right? What the hell are you doing in there? Damn paparazzi. Hey guys, how's it going? Todd, the Deep Drums guy. So it was brought to my attention the other day. Well, it really didn't need to be, but my beginning the drums video was just a little bit long. Yeah, just a little bit. So why don't we condense that down just a little bit to make it easier? That's hard to keep people's attention. I know mine really is bouncing off the squirrel. See what I mean? Yeah. So anyways, let's just break it down a notch, shall we? Now, drums can be expensive, but there's ways to go, get around that. You don't have to buy brand new. It's smarter just to buy used. For me. Okay, now when you get to that point, you've really decided this is what you really want to do. And you're going to make the jump and you're going to get your first set of drums. If you can find somebody who plays the drums to take with you, by all means, have them do that. Because they're going to help you look over the kit and make sure it's going to be right for you and there's not going to be any issues. You're going to check, make sure all your hardware is there, especially your lugs and your tension rods, your hoops. Make sure the shell doesn't have any cracks. The wrap is not that big of a deal. If you're just going to be one of those guys down in your basement playing the drums, it doesn't have to look spectacular. If it does, great, but if not, don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal. You just want to make sure your hardware is there. Now, if the drums just come with the drums and not the mounting hardware, there's another expense you got to look into. Your friend will help you go over that with you, though. The shells are the main thing, though. The shells can't have the cracks in it. You want to check your bearing edge, which the bearing edge is the top and bottom of your drum shells when the hoops have been removed. They're usually cut at a 30 or 45 degree angles. They should be smooth to the touch. They shouldn't have any nicks or big abrasions on them. They should be intact. All your hardware on the inside should be intact and also free of rust. If not, that's something that can be taken care of down the road quite easily. The drum heads aren't that big of a deal. Drum heads are an expendable item. You have to prepare for this, because if you don't buy them right now, down the road you are going to need new drum heads. Usually people get rid of their drums. A lot of ignorant people get rid of their drum set because to them it sounded good when it was brand new, but now that they've had it for several years, it just doesn't sound good, so the drums are bad. No, they're not. The heads are shot. That's it. I bought 5 drum sets in my lifetime so far. In the last year and a half, I've replaced all my sets of heads. Before I even touched the drums, I bought new heads to go with them. That's just me. You have to look into that. That's going to be another expense. If you get a drum set for $100, you're going to have to plan for possibly spending $170, adding another $70 to get new heads. In the long run, I think you'll be happier, because once you get tuning down and you have brand new heads to deal with, the sound is just going to be a lot more pleasing than something all worn out, danged up, beat up, and you got crayon all over it. So that's another thing to take into account. If you're buying that first drum set, I wouldn't recommend spending more than $300 or $400 on it, because if it doesn't work out, you're probably not going to recoup most of that money. You're going to lose on it, and the less you lose, the better. If your parents or your wanting to buy an all-in-one set, which is the drums, hardware, and cymbals, those are usually pretty good deals, and you can get those for about $500 or $600. And if it doesn't work out, you're really not going to lose that much if you sell it, because it is an all-inclusive kit. But for just the basic set of drums without the cymbals and hardware, don't go more than $300 or $400, because again, you have to add the hardware and cymbals, and there's another expense. Not so heavy on the hardware, but your cymbals can really make you or break you. Your hardware, you can arguably get kind of skimpy on hardware. Cymbal stands, for the most part, they just kind of stand there and hang out. You walk down in your basement, they're like, hey, sup? You're holding up their cymbals. That's all they do for the most part. If you're just in your basement, they don't have to be anything special. I have pretty decent quality stands, big heavy duty ones, and I also have quite a selection of very inexpensive and cheap ones. It's okay. It's not hurting anything. The inexpensive ones are doing just as good a job as the really nice ones. But along with the cymbal stand, you're going to need a kick pedal. That's very important. It's got to be fully functional, preferably with 2 chains on it. You're going to need a decent snare stand, one that's got all the support features work, the adjustability, and it's got the little pads to hold your snare. You don't want to damage your snare. And your hi-hat stand, which is a very important piece of equipment. You have to make sure it functions properly. It's going to do everything you want it to do, and it's easily adjustable for you. You can get a brand new sets of hardware, brand new, off Amazon for little, I think about $200. Some of the other bigger name brands offer them up to close to $300 for like their lower end. My set is the RX series from D-Drum, and I think I paid $279 for it, and it's absolutely wonderful. The hi-hat stand is fully adjustable. The kick pedal is a beast. The snare stand is excellent, and it also came with 2 cymbal stands, both a boom stand and just a straight stand, and it served me flawlessly. Like with drums have a lot of different options. There's all sorts of different kind of hardware, all sorts of different grades from different manufacturers. Again, this is not a show-off contest. You don't have to go out and buy all DW hardware. It can be from the lowliest manufacturer out there. It's fine and dandy. If it didn't cost you a lot, fine. If it serves its purpose, get it done. Later on down the road, you can always expand and get Did they go now? What are you doing down there? You guys are killing me. Again, Guitar Center is another place where you can get affordable hardware and gear. They sell everything you need, from stuff that's been beaten up a little bit, and they also have almost brand new items, and also new items, of course. If you're going to be shopping for the used items, all Guitar Centers, on items you find on Guitar Center's list, they have a phone number for that store that specific item is at. It does not hurt to give them a call and ask questions about the specific piece that you're looking at. They don't mind at all. It's all part of the job. Now, another thing you got to look up to right after hardware: noisy things. Yeah, the cymbals. Yeah, that can get expensive also. And it wasn't until I really started delving deep into this drum hobby of mine did I realize there's a lot more to this than I initially thought. It just, it can be a little overwhelming at times. It can be. But you'll get through it. It's fine. There's a lot of different resources out there. When you're looking into things. I mean, my video, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to talk to you for 15 minutes or an hour if you look at my other video about just this thing. But there are just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos on YouTube about this very matter. And by all means, before you commit, before you do anything, you make sure you know what you're looking for, you know where to get it, you know what you want to pay for, and you realize the repercussions of if it doesn't work out, how am I going to get rid of it? That's why it's always nice to have a network of friends or people like music teachers at school who can direct you to people who can help you. I mean, the more you know, the better you are, trust me. In my ignorance, when I first started all of this, I didn't put or take cymbals into account that much. I didn't. There's a lot to it. Not the brands necessarily. The brands to me really don't matter. What they're made of does. But first, when I started off, I was actually going to order brass cymbals. I didn't know. Brass cymbals are fine for just starting out, but the more your playing improves, the more your ears improve as well. And what sounded like a nice cymbal when you first started now sounds like you're banging on a trash can. I learned that also. But I also got smart at the same time. I went and bought a brand new set. Luckily, I was able to afford a brand new set, and I bought a set of Peisty PST7s. Arguably one of the better beginning level set of cymbals. They're not brass, but they're actually B10 bronze or B8 or B10. I'm not sure what Peisty makes them out of. I can't remember. But they also make their higher end cymbals, the 2000 series or 2002 series, out of the same material. So you can get away with it a little. It is fine. But some cymbals, like Sabian XS20s, are made of a B20 bronze. It's a higher quality. A lot of the higher quality cymbals these days are made of B20 bronze. But you don't have to spend top dollar to get those. You can buy the cymbals used as well. And again, there are a lot of resources out there to find used cymbals. Craigslist, I was looking at ours the other day, and there are people selling beginning level Zildjian cymbals, Sabian cymbals, the B8s, which are their entry level bronze cymbals. Decent to start off with. I'm not saying, not to buy them. If you're just starting out, fine. My ear, not anymore. It just, because my ear is evolved as well as my playing skills. If you want to buy new, a lot of these packs from the different manufacturers, they put together cymbal packs where you're going to get your hi-hats, which are very important, and when the most played item on your drum set. They also come with a ride or a crash ride, and either one or two crash cymbals to come with it. You can get these sets for anywhere from $200 to $3,000 if you so choose. That's what you want to spend. But again, if you're just starting out, the lower number is better. Maybe just above the lower number, find something a little bit more higher quality. So when you start to develop your ear as well as your playing, that they're not immediately turning you off. So do your homework, watch videos, and ask somebody. Hopefully, you're smarter than I am. I should have taken some type of music lessons while I was in school, when I had the opportunity, while it was free, while I had teachers that are there to help me, but I never did. I did start with bass guitar when I was younger, around my high school age. That didn't last very long. And after several decades, I tried electric guitar, and of course, that didn't work out too well either, mainly because I'm impatient. And I would have to start where I was starting at the very ground level. Had I started off in high school with music class and whatnot, I would have been in much better shape than I am now. If you have the opportunity to take band, by all means do so. If you want to also add in coaches on the weekends, I did have a coach for when I was trying to learn bass, and very knowledgeable, and he could teach you anything you wanted to know. And the thing he did, which I really liked, is that he taught his basic spiel. He went through his basic spiel every lesson. But also, at the end of each lesson, he wanted me to select a song or a piece of a song that had that specific bass line that he wanted to teach me. And there was a couple songs, and I was able to pick up on those bass lines. And what he was doing was something really important, because he knew that lessons could be kind of tedious and kind of boring. And so he was helping me to pick up things in actual music or in actual songs that I could kind of play along with. And to me, that's very important. There's people my age who take drum lessons and stuff like that, and more power to them. I've got a couple subscribers that are older than me that are taking lessons on the side, which is fantastic. I don't really have the time, but I do have the time. I just don't make the time. I am not interested in taking drums to that level myself. I am just a hobbyist. But if you want to take lessons, if you want to be a better drummer down the road, if you're young, by all means do it. It's going to help you a lot. And my biggest advice to you with what I've done, I've come a long way in just a year and a half. I'm not at the level where I can sit there and play a concert or a gig somewhere. No, I'm not at that level. But what I like to do, and I think is one of the most important things to do to keep your interest with drums, is to play along to music. I put on YouTube, I go off my YouTube videos, and they play off my speaker through my phone, and I can play along to songs. Even if I don't know the song, it's important to play along with it, to put on random songs off the radio, because you're going to learn faster that way. Even if, let's say, you're starting lessons in a month and you have all your equipment, start playing along to music. Get your basic patterns down, get the muscle motion started, providing you're doing everything the right way. And that way, when you start with your lessons with a drum coach or drum teacher or at school, they have a little bit to work with. They can see how you're going to progress, and they can judge you on how to train you more effectively, I think. But to me, I think that is one of the most important things you can do. Even if you're all drummed out, you've been in it all week in school, and you take your lessons on the weekend. And again, I wasn't the most studious in school, and I myself really don't like direction that much. But it's important to get on the drums and play along to music, because it's something that I enjoy. It's the one thing that I enjoy most of all. And yeah, I've got to sit there and learn stuff myself and what to do. But once I get over the frustration and I learn something, I kick the music on and I go, because that's what I love. That's what keeps me into this hobby and keeps me growing. Hopefully not too much more equipment, but it keeps my interest. It makes me smile. And and when you start that new song and there's this fill in that song that you've tapped out on the steering wheel of your car, for months and months and months, or years and years and years, and you go, I want to try that on the drums. And when you sit there and practice it and you nail it in the song, oh my God, it is just absolutely freaking wonderful. Then you bomb the rest of the song, but hey, that's just me though. Practice, practice, practice. But I wanted to make this video because I was reminded by Joe the drummer that it was a little long. Yeah, I have a tendency to talk a lot. So I wanted to shorten it. because I needed to keep your attention. Sometimes you want to hear some friggin' old gray-haired dude drooling on about something, blah, 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 blah. So here's a shorter, lightened version. 2.0, free of GMOs and gluten-free and all that crap. Short and sweet. But anyways, I'm Todd, the Cheap Drums Guy, and I really hope, if you're starting off in the drums, I really hope you're motivated, because you're going to be very rewarded in a short amount of time. And it's just, to me, it's probably, I couldn't think of a better hobby for me to get started off in, and I am so glad I did it. And that's a hell of a lot cheaper than boating. Oh, see ya, boat.